Namah Shivaya. Shivaya Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya. Shivaya Namaha. Shivaya, Shivaya Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namaha.
How do you know if we start talking about old village temples and how we worshipped and how we went and what kind of food we ate and all that? You think the culture of a people is confined to the temples that they build or the universities or the cement and the stone blocks, buildings that they build? Culture is the people, how they practice it. So I thought we should start something based on the temple, how the temple is running, so that the young people, whether they are from Sri Lanka or India or Singapore or Holland or Denmark, doesn't matter. They should have an exposure to this thing and understand why. And what is the symbol of a Saivite? The Vibhuti, isn't it? So I called it VSI, Vibhuti Saivite Immersion. And it was started to teach kids like you the culture, the ups and downs of how it is and what the worship is like, how they dress, how they ate.
Shankara Prana Vallabhe Jnana वैराग्यसिद्ध्यर्थं भिक्षां देहि च पार्वती.
How they sang. And Vibhuti also means the grace that comes from a deity.
Shri Matre Namaha. Namaskaram everyone. Welcome back to our Sacred Rites and Rituals of Sanātana Dharma learning series, which is a joint presentation by the Sri Vidya Temple Society, Rochester, New York, USA, and Ashtanga Yoga Mandir, Sri Lanka. These lectures are conducted by Sri Chaitanya Nandanada, affectionately known as Ayya. Ayya is the founder and Pitadipadi of the Sri Vidya Temple. Both Ayya and Amma, Srimati Nyanamba, have dedicated their lives to the noble mission of preserving and spreading the knowledge of Devi worship and the rich traditions of Saiva Bhakti. The temple will be hosting a few events and programs in the coming weeks. Every year, the temple arranges a group Shraddha Tarpanam on Adi Amavasya so that all may fulfill this important duty to one's paternal ancestors. This year, the Tarpanam will be held on Wednesday, July 27, 2022. For more information about how to get involved, please visit srividya.org. Vibhuti Shaivite Immersion is a one-week-long overnight program conducted by the Sri Vidya Temple Society on the temple premises for kids aged 10 to 18. The program began back in 2004, and since then, this program continues to grow as it is a platform for younger learners in our community to experience an engaging and immersive learning program from children all over the world who are interested in learning about our rich traditions. With the blessings of Ayya, Amma, and the Devi, Vibhuti Shaivite Immersion has been running for 17 successful years. With their blessings, this will be the 18th year of VSI. This year, VSI will run from Saturday, July 30, 2022 to Saturday, August 6, 2022. During the VSI program, staff strive to immerse the children in the rich traditions of Saiva temple culture. As our temple is a learning temple, it is an ideal place for kids to get involved and truly experience the wealth of Saiva philosophy, worship, and plenty of hands-on learning opportunities for our young learners. Through inspirational and educational classes with Ayya, presentations from guest speakers, and sessions with the counselors, each child is encouraged to find his or her own personal connection with Saiva culture and devotion in a fun-filled setting. Just a note for all, we will not have our yoga session for today. For those interested in viewing content shared during the sessions, please note that all content being discussed in these sessions will be posted after the conclusion of the respective topic on our webpage. Please use the question form to share any questions you might have pertaining to the content discussed. For those viewing our live stream, our question form can also be found on our webpage, which is srividya.org/aym-lectures. At this time, we will hand it over to Aya to begin today's session.
Hamsasiva soham hamsaha hasakafrem hasakshamalavarayom hasau sahakshamalavarayem sahau swarupanirupana hetave swagurave Sri Annapurnamba Sameda Sri Lasri Amardhanandanada Saraswati Mahapattaraka Mama Sri Guru Sri Padukam Pujayami Tarpajami Namaha Om. My humble pranams to my esteemed Guruji, Sri Lasri Amardhanandanada Saraswati of Devipuram, India. I prostrate before him and request that he sit on my open heart lotus and speak through me. Now, we have had a few weeks gap. The Rashi Mandala Puja that we discussed the last time we met has concluded at the temple, and there were more than 750 people who participated. Now, this session is about questions and answers to have more of an understanding of the Rashi Mandala Puja. So, I want to know what people have understood and what their doubts and what their questions are about this ritual. So let's open the floor to questions.
Namaskaram, Aya. So the first question that comes is, what inspired you to create this Rashi Mandala Puja?
If we can, what inspired you to create this Rashi Mandala Puja? This is the first question. It might take the whole hour for me to explain why. Okay. The beginning of this, the sloka from Nitya Shodasikarnava that we always chant during Sri Chakra Puja, or when we are worshipping the Devi, or when we are doing an Arichana. Ganesha Griha Nakshatra Yoginim Rasi Rubinim Naumi Devim Mantramayim Naumi Matruka Peter Rubinim. Ganesha Griha Nakshatra Yoginim. Ganesha Griha Nakshatra Yoginim Rasi Rubinim. So Rasi, the 12 Rasis, all the variations of the Murti of Ganapati, the 9 Grahas, the 27 constellations, the 27 nakshatras, all of them are already being mentioned as her form. Now, it is very rare to meet up with somebody either in Sri Lanka or in India, any one of the states, or wherever you are living, to find somebody who has learnt or who is into Sri Vidya. And what is Sri Vidya about? What is Sri Vidya about? It is to know and become one with the Devi. And if you say one with the Devi, that means you become one with the Ganeshas, the Grahas, the Nakshatras, the Yoginis, all of them, the Rasis. Also, it tells you this is her form. They also say, Ya Devada Bhogakari Sana Mokshaya Kalpade Sri Sundari Pujana Tatparanam Bhogasya Mokshasya Karasta Eva. What does that mean? That means if you worship any deity, if it will give you bhoga, material enjoyment, it won't give you moksha. And conversely, if it gives you moksha, you don't get material enjoyment from that murti. But the Devi, Bhogasya Mokshasya Karasta Eva, she will give it to you in the palm of your hand. That is the nature of Mahatripura Sundari. And the path, the way to meet her, the way to merge with her, the way to worship her is Sri Vidya. Now, I began to think, after the Kumbhabhishekam in 2010, Punaruddharana Kumbhabhishekam or Jeernoddharana Kumbhabhishekam, which means the Kumbhabhishekam that is done after 12 years. Now, we had about 11 distinguished practitioners of Sri Vidya. Many of them had come from India. And there were a total of 121 Homakundams. We were doing the pujas. But on the advice of Sri Amma, we had the 11 of them sit right next to the Pratana Homakundam. These are people who had experienced Atirudram before, participated in it, some of them many times over. Amma felt that if we had inadvertently made some mistake in the commission of Adirudram that we had planned, the Gayatri Japam that these 11 people would have done up to that point would have protected us, would protect us. And when these 11 senior Sri Vidya Upasakas came, they were blown away when they found out that there were well over 50 people who had received Mahashodasi and more than 100 who had received Panchasakshari and were doing Japam and Puja, both in the temple and in their own houses. Now, such a combination is very rare. Even if it is India, in one town, in one city, you won't find so many of them. And even if you can find them, it will be very difficult because most of them adhere to this rule of secrecy and they keep the puja as a Gupta puja. That is, in their own homes, they will do the puja, but they will not reveal that they are doing Sri Chakra puja. Nobody understands, nobody will find out. And they won't acknowledge it. Therefore, it will be very difficult to get 50, 60 people in one place. But here, that was not the case. So I began to think, somewhere about 5 years ago, the planetary positions were such that dire predictions were coming from whether they were following Western astrology or Vedic astrology or Eastern astrology. Dire warnings were coming up. For the normal people, almost there was no recourse where they could go and mitigate the negative effects of some of the planets, because most of them were aligned. I forget the alignment right now, but it was bad. It set me thinking, and I was wondering, the mother has blessed this temple with so many senior upasakas of Sri Vidya, Sreshta upasakas. And these are people who have managed to move the Chit Shakti from the body, in the body, way up beyond Anahata Chakra. And because many of them had received Shodasi or Panchasakshari, it was taken for granted that the Brahma Granthi and Vishnu Granthi had already been penetrated. Now, for such people, the grihas do not have any, they don't have that kind of a hold on them. If you are able to keep her above the Vishnu Granthi, they will come and do namaskarams to you and keep going. This is what Guruji had told me. So I set to thinking, okay, for such people, it will be easy for them if they were given the opportunity to perform a puja encompassing the Rasi Mandalam, the Navagrahams, the Nakshatrams, and the Yoginis. And if we could worship them in a Shakti Panchayatanam, that which is found in the Sri Chakram as Sri Vidya Upasakas, in the four corners are Ganapati, Surya, Vishnu, and Shiva, and Devi, Mahatripura Sundari, is in the middle. This is called Shakti Panchayatana. And in many Brahmin households, this puja would be done in its various formations. If Vishnu is in the center, it is called Vishnu Panchayatana. If Swami Shiva is in the center, it is called Shiva Panchayatana, and so on and so forth. Since her form is Ganesha Graha, Nakshatra Yoginim, Rasi Rupinim, all these forms are hers. I thought we should be able to provide a service for the people who have absolutely no idea of any of these rituals or mantras or any of them. Many people, I don't know about people in India, but back home, where I come from, people have outwardly asked me, why do you have to go to the temple every day and worship? Isn't it enough if you go on Diwali day and New Year's day and perform an archana and come? Isn't that enough? I used to be speechless when they said this. How can you mitigate millions or hundreds or thousands of births worth of karma if you don't at least turn your attention towards a power that is superior to you. Many of them would not even acknowledge that there was a power above them. The moment they went to the university and got a hold of a basic bachelor's degree or a master's degree or a couple of master's degrees or an MBA or a PhD, they thought, and many of them still do, still think that that is the end of it all. But still, if the planetary forces are there in negative positions or in some positions in their birth horoscopes, they would get buffeted, whether they acknowledge their presence or not. So after serious considerations, trying this combination, that combination, how we can do a basic Sri Chakra Puja, how we can do a basic Archana, a Trisadi Archana, involve people doing the Trisadi, or Sahasranama Archana, or basic Sri Sukta Vidhana Puja, or Rudra Sukta Vidhana Puja. I found that at some point or the other, it was going to hit back. If the people are not properly prepared, if the Kundalini is not above the Vishnu Granthi, they're going to get hit. I thought we have been blessed with so many people who have Panchadasakshari or Shodasi, and by practice, they would be in a position to bear up, to take this energy. So I decided that we should merge the Rasi Chakra, because that itself is the form of the Devi. Remember, Ganesha, Graha, Nakshatra, Yoginim, Rasi Rupinim. The form of these things is the mother. So leaving the Chaturasram, or the Trilokya Mohana Chakram, or the square, or the enclosures, with its 4 entrances intact for both yantras, both chakras, I merged the Rasi Chakra onto the Sri Chakra, as you see here. The 2 circles that you see, there should be 3. The 2 circles that you see are the outer peripheries of the Rasi Chakram that we have drawn. So if you proportionately shrink this, it will become merged exactly where the outer peripheries of the Rasi Chakram, the circles of the Rasi Chakram are. So I did not have sufficient knowledge of the computer, but I went on checking probably literally thousands of Rasi Chakras that are available online. None of them satisfied me. And we produced this one. You can see how the Sri Chakram is quietly being merged onto this. So it is the same as having the triangles and having all of those, the 14, outer 10, inner 10, 8, and the triangle and the bindu. And this Rasi Chakram was made in such a way that it is accurate to the 3rd decimal place. And employing the present any day that we choose to do the puja, using an almanac or using the North Indian or South Indian way of calculating it. If you are going to use the North Indian one, you will be using Lahiri Mahasaya's calculations. If it is South, it is either B.V. Raman or Krishnamurti. But the positioning of the planets will be the same. So what we did, drawing the inspiration from the mother, I started to put together elements of the Navagraha Puja, descriptions of them, but not moving away from the idea that these are from the Devi. So if you happen to have the Puja Vidhanam for the Rasi Chakram, Rasi Mandalam, and if you look at the Navagraha Pujas, take any Navagraha and see, it will say Meru Pradikshana Kurvanam. The Navagraha is going round the Meru, and in the end, it will say the Rupa of, let us say, Ketu Rupa Mahatirpura Sundariye Namaha. It will end up with the mother. Similarly, for the Nakshatras, and for the Rasis, and for the Navagrahas, and for each of the 108 padams that are dispersed throughout the Rasi Mandala. This is the reason. So if we do the puja, we are not moving away from Sri Vidya. We are doing it, but we are not exposing it to the people who have no idea about this or who have no belief in it. But still, they will reap the benefits of this puja. This was the inspiration for the Rasi Mandala Puja. Next question, please.
The next question is, if we worship the Devi and tell her to take care of all the shortcomings in our life, do we still need to perform separate pujas to the Navagrahas? And a follow-up is, will this impact our sadhana in any way?
Now, this is a loaded question. If we worship the Devi, although it appears to be very simple, and tell her to take care of all the shortcomings in our life, do we still need to perform separate pujas to the Navagrahas? Now, if you can tell me that the people who worship the Devi are absolutely remembering her 24/7, 365, then yes, she will take care. Are we all advanced to such an extent that only the Devi's thought dominates throughout the day and night? If you don't, if you give 3 hours for taking care of paying the mortgage, paying your auto insurance, right? Going grocery shopping, having a small gathering in your house and enjoying with your friends, the grahas will catch you. Because the grahas are created and appointed by the Devi to mitigate your prarabdha karma. Unless you are a rishi who is able to, or a Sri Vidya Upasaka who has brought up the Kundalini to pass through the Granthis and penetrate the Vishnu Granthi and hold it there. You are going to be buffeted by the grahas. So you do have to perform individual, separate pujas to the Navagrahas. And the follow-up question is, will this impact our sadhana in any way? I think if you are doing Rasi Mandala Puja, you are actually doing Sri Chakra Puja in another form. That's all. It will not impact your sadhana in any way. In fact, it will refine it and purify it more, because the Granthis You remember when you go through the 6 chakras in your body, as she moves upwards, going to the Sahasra Kamalam to join her Lord, Sadasiva, each of the chakras has a tattvam. Mooladharam has Prithvi tattvam. Swadhishtanam has Abhas tattvam. Manipurakam has Agni tattvam. Anahatam has Vayu tattvam. Visuddhi chakram has Akasha tattvam. And Agnya chakram has Manas tattvam. As she passes through each, she absorbs that particular tattvam and keeps going up. So that once you approach the Agnya chakram, only your Manas is left. And the word Agnya means command. You have to command your own device, your demise. Own demise you have to command. And once that is done, only Varahi, Mahavarahi or your Guru can take you up through the other 9 centers that lie the width of each of your fingers from the Agnya Chakram all the way to the Sahasra Kamala. So, when this happens, the people who are able to keep that energy up there, most of the Shrestha Sri Vidya Upasakas are like that. They are able to maintain it there just by japam. And even if they don't do japam, dhyanam, aradhanam, introspection, ritual performance, if they remember to do their Guru Padaka 24 hours, whenever they remember it, it will still keep them there and it will still take them. So, it will not impact, it will not affect your sadhana. Next question.
The next question is, you have mentioned that if an upasaka can maintain the kundalini above the Vishnu Granthi, they are not affected by the planets. How can an upasaka confirm this? And how then would a Rasi Mandala Puja affect them differently?
If an upasaka can maintain the kundalini above the Vishnu Granthi, they are not affected by the planets. Yes. How can an upasaka confirm this? What, you want a certificate of confirmation from somebody? You go visit your guru. If he looks into your eyes, he will know at what point whether the Ojas Shakti is collecting in your body, whether it is there or it is being wasted. That means Ojas means mantra virya. The viryam, the vitality that comes to you with mantra japam. If he is a guru or she is a guru worth his or her salt, by looking at the disciples' eyeballs, by looking at their eyes, they will know where it is. You cannot get a proof of, you cannot get a confirmation certificate for this. Sorry. And a Rasi Mandala Puja will not affect them. They will be able to pull somebody else out of trouble while performing the puja for them. That is the whole purpose of the Rasi Mandala Puja. So Rasi Mandala Puja will not affect them. It will help others. And the mother will bless them because they have helped somebody out of a tough spot. How can a upasaka confirm this? They want a confirmation certificate that it is past this? No. However, if a person has been doing introspection, remember the second one, japam. First one is japam. Second one is dhyanam, introspection. Then they would know where the Kundalini Shakti in their body is located. Because in the Shiva Puranam, you hear the word Vaham Kaduttanda Vendanadi Velha. Vaham is the surge of the energy that is created, and it is when the 5 sense organs receive the information from the outside, and the reaction to them is a surge. You have to be able to reduce that surge. If you reduce that surge to such an extent, first thing that will happen to you is you will start hearing the sound inside. That is your first confirmation. And that confirmation of that sound has to be continuous. In the beginning, you will hear it, then for some time you won't hear it if you're engaged in other things. Not that the sound is not there, but you have let your sense organs carry you above the frequency of the sound. If you can bring your total concentration on this thing, and if you can feel the energy, and if you can hear the sound 24/7, then you will know where she is. So there's no confirmation. The confirmation is yourself and your guru. Next question.
The next question, you mentioned Rasi Mandala Puja is similar to Sri Chakra Puja. So why do we not install a Samanagyam and a Visheshagyam during Rasi Mandala Puja?
The Panchapatram that you are going to use for the puja, the Panchapatram that you are using for the puja is in itself has become the Samanya and Visheshagyas. And the Amridam that is placed in the Kalasams, it's not just the water that is in the Amridam that is in the Panchapatram. When you chant the mantras, all of them, all the pots, all the Kalasams that are there, all of them get converted. Why do you think they are powerful? It is because they absorb the mantras. When you are chanting it, they are absorbed. And you would have heard, Agni Mandala, Dharma Prasakalatmane, Visheshagyamrtaya Namaha, Surya Mandala, like that you would have heard. So all those mantras are absorbed into those things. You don't have to separately install, a Samanyargyam and a Visheshagyam, because there are specific rules for the Samanyargyam and Visheshagyam. When you ask this question, I'm sure you have forgotten that. What is that? If you install Samanyargyam and Visheshagyam separately, you cannot move both vessels. And you cannot stand up until the puja is over. Then the triangle will be broken. The Visheshagyam is on your right hand side. Samanyargyam is on your left hand side. You are the third point of the triangle. These three should not move. How will you do the puja for the Rasi Mandalam if you are going to sit in one place and do this? And this Rasi Mandalam is 35 feet square. So, there's your answer. Okay, next question.
The next question is the benefit of the Rasi Mandala Puja for this point in time for the current planetary positions, or does it extend beyond that?
If you had read the flyer, it said any shortcoming that is there in your horoscope will be mitigated. And the planetary positions in your horoscope are determined by your prarabdha karma, what you have done and collected over maybe thousands and thousands of births. It will quietly clear the slate for you so that you can have a fresh beginning. That is why this temple has taken so much trouble to create the Rasi Mandala, to make it available, and to make people available who are capable of doing the puja. And we have invested so much of money and time and energy to do this. It certainly extends beyond that. Now you also have to remember, every puja, 40% is preparation, collecting the materials, collecting the texts, collecting the people who are able to do the puja. That's only 40%. 60% is your faith. If you have that 60%, most of your planetary shortcomings will be taken care of instantaneously. The mother is that powerful, remember that. Next question.
The next question piggies back off of this. So to what extent should we be engaging in ways to limit the impact of our doshams if we acknowledge that it is part and parcel of our karma?
I don't understand this. To what extent should we be engaging in ways to limit the impact of our doshams? By doing japam, japam, japam. And when you do that, automatically you will begin to introspect. Because if it is just japam, you're going to be going round in circles. If that introspection point is not reached and begun and started, you will not make the journey inwards. The journey inwards is the one that is going to limit the impact of your doshas. If it is part and parcel of your karma, shouldn't you make an attempt to mitigate it? You want to carry this to the next birth and to the next one? If you don't take care of it, it's going to follow you. Therefore, you should be able, if somebody tells you that this is a way that you can limit the impact of your doshams, you should listen to it. Properly study it. If you don't understand it, properly study it. Make your own research. And then come and participate in these kind of rituals. Next question.
Next question is, one version of the Rasi Mandala in one of the temple videos had the nakshatras on the outer part of the circle with the Rasi inside, and the large Rasi Mandalam that was used this time had the nakshatras in the innermost part of the circle with the Rasis on the outer side. The question is, which is correct, or does it change the significance?
Both are correct. The first one, with the nakshatras on the outer part of the circle, that was used, that was created for the devotees in Singapore and Australia. When we began this, that is where we did the pujas. And if you notice, there's nothing wrong with them. All the elements, the basic elements for the nakshatras, for the padams, for the planets, all of them are there. The version that we used for the Rasi Mandala Puja contains these and other elements in there, like the Chaturayana Devatas. Plus, also you will find the Dig Devatas are completely there. Also, the Trilokya Mohana Chakram, the square enclosure of the Sri Chakram, is very clearly there. So there is actually no difference, except that the new one, the one that we are using now, is a refinement over the old one. That's all. Next question.
Next question is, why are there Kalasams placed next to the Murtis? For example, the Ganapati Kalasam is beside the Ganapati Vigraham.
Because if I want to give the benefit of the Ganapati Puja to somebody, how do I do it? Take the Ganapati Vigraham and give it to him? Then it will go to only one person. The energy that can be trapped in it or absorbed in the Kalasamardam is the one that is used or employed to reach the devotee. So every deity in that mandalam had a kalasam so that it can be distributed to the people. Next question.
The next question is, what is the significance of chanting the Khadgamala during the Yogini Puja?
What is the Khadgamala? If you know what it is, the central portion of the Sri Chakram is the one that is merged in the Rashi Chakram. All the deities in the Sri Chakram are being worshipped. So we are completing when it says Ganesha Graha Nakshatra Yoginim Rasi Rupanim. We are worshipping the Devi, who is in the center and who is part and parcel of that entire mandalam that is there. And if you notice, the Khadgamala Stotram that is done during the Yogini Puja is done from the outside going to the inside. At the periphery of the yantra is where the Khadgamala Stotram is being chanted. Okay? So the significance of chanting is so that the ladies who are performing the puja get energized, and the Kalasa Amardam, the Shanka Amardam that is there in the pairs of the Shankams that are there, that they will be charged during the Khadgamala Stotram. It's not only Khadgamala Stotram that you can chant. Khadgamala Stotram, after all, are the Khadgamala Stotram is the one that gives you the names of all the enclosures in the Sri Chakra. You can chant Trisadi, you can chant Lalita Ashtotra Sadam, or you can chant Shiva Shakti Aikya Trisadi, or Lalita Sahasranamam, or Sri Rajarajeswari Turiya Sahasranamavali is there. That also you can chant. Next question.
During one of the pujas within the Rasi Mandala Puja, I heard names and lines found in the Lalita Sahasranamam being chanted. What is that and where are they taken from?
They are obviously taken from the Lalita Sahasranamam. You yourself have given the answer in the beginning. Now, these are specifically sensitive towards the Rasis. Those names were selected by an extremely senior Sri Vidya Upasaka by the name of Atmanandanada. You will find his name in almost all the publications from our temple. He is a super sensitive, very highly evolved soul. So he is the one who compiled those names for us, for the Rasis. These are taken from the Lalita Sahasranamam. Next question.
There are 4 entrances in the Rasi Mandala. Is there a preferred entrance we should use when entering a Rasi Mandala? And do you get different benefits by using the different entrances?
Like everyone, you're interested in finding out what benefits you will get. The ultimate benefit that you will get is the unending blessings of the mother. That itself should take care of everything. Now, the first entrance is Rigvedam. Second one, southern entrance is Yajurvedam. Western entrance is Samavedam. Northern entrance is Atharvana Vedam. Now, in the Brahmin families in India, in their ancestors would have chanted either one Veda or one or two Vedas or three Vedas or all four Vedas. If they chant Rig Vedam, they will be called Rigvedis. If they chant Yajurvedam, they will be called Yajurvedis. As far as I can tell, my ancestors, 1,200 years ago, they were Yajurvedis, I am told. Now, if you know three Vedas, you will be called as Trivedi. If you know all four Vedas, you will be called Chaturvedis. So it depends on which one that you want. It doesn't make any difference which entrance you use to enter the Sri Chakram. Once you entered it, you should know how to find your way inside the ramparts and inside the avenues that are there and all that. There's a Srinagar Archanam that you do. Hari Chandana Vatikaya Namaha, Chandana Vatikaya Namaha, Mandara Vatikaya Namaha. This Vatika means avenue. Inside the Sri Chakram, you will find this. Vidurumaratna Prakaraya Namaha, Padmaraharatna Prakaraya Namaha. Those are ramparts that are there. So, it does not matter which entrance you use. Once you enter the Sri Chakram, you should know how to traverse it, how to find your way, navigate your way to the Bindusthanam. And that can only be done by your Guru Mandalam, who will be holding the torch and holding your hand throughout the journey. Next question.
How is each Dwara Murti correspond to each Veda Murti? Why is each specific Murti and Veda paired up with each other?
What do you mean? Why is a specific Murti and Veda paired up with each other? That's the way it is formed. That is the way it is there in the Sri Chakram. Then you will be asking, why is the Devi sitting in the Bindu? Why can't she sit in one of the Avaranams in front? That's the way it is. Dwara Murtis correspond to the Veda Murtis that are there. And that's the way it is there in the original. I remember when I first wrote the book Sri Chakra Puja Vidhi, Sri Vidya Sri Chakra Puja Vidhi, and there's a gentleman who is now in Rotterdam by the name of William Thomas. He used to come to our place, and he had his own studio. Studio was called Avatar Studios. And he had computer knowledge. And I sat with him and got this Meru done in each Avaranam. That means the Avaranams are separated from each other and they are floating in space. The first time the book was published, I had to be in Chennai, and some of the most orthodox of the people criticized me no end, because they told me you have chopped up the Meru and you had no right to do it. And I was getting assaulted from all sides, from various people. Already there was this bias towards me because I was not like them, I was a Kshatriya. And how dare a Kshatriya draw something like this? And not just draw it, print it and then publish it and then start giving it and distributing it. I kept quiet. I said, this is the way I saw it, so I drew it like that. End of story. My Guru approved it, and for me, Guru's approval is Devi's approval. Then somebody introduced me to Sri Amma. I went to her house and gave her a book. She looked at the cover and her eyes went like this. She asked me, how did you know how to do this? I asked her, Amma, have I made a mistake? She said, no, this is the way it is. This is how you will see it. In your meditation, when you go deep inside, this is how you will see it. I said, that is what I saw, that is what I put it. She said, correct, that's the correct word. So then I met those people and told them this is the way it is. And the Devi has approved it. You were telling me that the Devi has to approve it. She has. And most of the people who criticize me know Amma, so they kept quiet. And two of them went back to her and asked whether she actually did that. Next question.
Yeah, we will wrap up the questions for now. Is that okay?
We are done with the questions for now?
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will see you next week. How many more questions remain to be answered?
We have a couple, so at least 5 to 10 questions.
Okay, so next week also has been taken care of. That's the way the Sri Chakram is. That is how the Meru is in space. That's how it looks. If you take a journey 50 light years away or 500 light years away from where you are, you will see this form. How can you travel 500 light years away with the technology that we have now? In the language of the Rishis, they said, Vayuvaham, speed of sound. And then they said something else, Manovaham, the speed of the mind. If you think of an object that is 2 million light years away, you're already there. That means the speed of the mind. That is how the Rishis knew that there were 9 planets. That is how they knew that there were constellations. That is how they knew that the earth was round. That is what they knew. That is how they knew that the earth was glowing. None of these fellows knew how whether the earth was glowing until a satellite went up there and took a photograph of it. They said, Kanagamcha, Kanagamcha. Sagaram cha. Sagaram is ocean. Mekalam. The earth has a waste chain of oceans. Kanagam, green forests. I don't know whether it is there anymore, but Kanagam cha. And it said, Ujvalidam Mandalam. Ujvalidam is glowing, bright. Mandalam is globe. Do you know that there are somewhere in the 13th, 14th century, people thought the earth was flat? Do you know that even to this day in the United States, there are people who believe that the earth is flat. If you walk to the end of it, you will fall off. Can you imagine? Today, it is called the Flat Earth Society. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Ayya, for sharing more about the Rasi Mandala, the effects of the planetary position, and helping us with our doubts through this Q&A session. To access all content from prior sessions, please visit srividya.org/aym-lectures. We would like to thank everyone for joining us for today's session. We will see you all next time.